Welcome to the cave. I'm Miss H, and I am going to be discussing the part 2 of chapter 1.3. In part 1, we covered example 1 type of problems on page 18, and this video is going to be covering example 2 problems on page 19. Now, in part 1, I said that rational numbers are basically fractions. And so when we're looking at this example under example 2, page 19, you might be saying, Miss H, you just told us that that rational numbers are fractions. I hold true to what I said. They are fractions because decimals are just another way of showing a fraction. For example, if my decimal was 3.75, just for argument's sake. That's just another way of saying 3, because anything to the left of the decimal is your whole number, and anything to the right of the decimal is a fraction of a whole number, and 75% boils down to 3/4. Now, if you want me to teach you that lesson, that's a lesson for another day. Today, we're focusing on adding rational numbers. So let's look at the example that they gave us on example 2. It showed negative 0.75 plus negative 1.5. Let's remember our rules. Rule number 1 says that when I'm adding or subtracting two numbers, the answer will always be a negative. If I'm adding and subtracting two negative numbers, If I'm adding or subtracting two positive numbers, then obviously the answer is a positive number. But when I'm adding or subtracting two negative numbers, the answer will also be a negative. And the second rule says if I'm adding or subtracting a positive and a negative number, my answer, the sign of my answer, will depend on whether what the biggest number was. For example, negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. And the reason for that is because 8 is larger than 5, and 8 was a negative. Okay, so the same applies whether it's a fraction, a whole number, or decimals. So let's look at this. The other thing that we have to remember when we're working with decimals and we're adding or subtracting is that we're lining up our decimals. So the first number is 0. There's the decimal, 7.5. This is a negative 1.5, but where's that decimal? I like to tell my students, put the decimal in there first, line those decimals up, and then plug in the numbers. 5 would then go there, and then 1 would then go there. Again, this is a negative. So that means that my answer is also going to be a negative. Now, let's start adding. 5, and there's nothing down here. So that's sort of like saying you have an imaginary 0 there. 5 plus 0, because remember we're adding. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. Carry the 1. Let's line up our decimals. Our decimals have to stay aligned all the way through. 1 plus 0 is 1. Plus 1 more is 2. So my answer is negative 2.25. And there you go. Example 2 problems.